When life's a beach, you look for something a little different on holiday. If the fly and flop doesn't do it, you might be in the market for something a shade darker. Dark tourism is defined as visiting attractions whose main draw is their association with either real or symbolic death and suffering. When you put it like that, you can't help but wonder, who's visiting these places? And who's running them? But chances are you've already visited one, just out of curiosity. On holiday to Rotorua, you might have been to the buried village of Tarawera, New Zealand's answer to Pompeii, or in New York Central Park, you might have visited the John Lennon Memorial. History is just one dark thing happening after another, and people are fascinated by it. There's something that draws people to sites of tragedy, to see where it all happened. And dark tourism is nothing new either. It's a long and disturbing tradition. From pilgrimages to the dark relics of disembodied saints, gladiatorial games, public executions, people have always used their free time to do some really rather strange things. There were traces of something darker even at the beginning of what we now recognise as tourism. In the 1800s, the buried city of Pompeii near Naples became a must-see for this new breed of tourists. The catacombs of the Paris ossuary were open to paying visitors. This inspired a church in Sildek to commission an artist, Francisek Rindt, to make something more attractive out of all the old bones they had lying about the place. You know, liven it up for visitors. It's still one of the top attractions in modern-day Czech Republic. As a busy TripAdvisor page will attest, full of questions from curious tourists, such as, can you get married in the church? Bride emoji, bride emoji. No, you can't. Clearly some of the more gruesome tourist relics are fairly innocuous. Some dark tourism sites almost become parodies of themselves. Heading further east to Romania, the Transylvanian castle brand now actively advertises itself as Castle Dracula. Selling fanged mugs and bat wings, it has more to do with Hollywood vampires than any real Transylvanian count who ever lived there. Dark tourism is something that's easy to market but harder to reckon with, just as no two hotels are made equal. Do we need a darkness spectrum, like a TripAdvisor rating for tragedy? To help make sense of this tourism conundrum, Dr. Philip Stone came up with a 6-step scale he refers to as a dark tourism spectrum, ranging from lightest hint of tragedy to soul-blackening darkest, assigning a shade or measurement to the value of an attraction's darkness.
Looking at the purpose of an attraction, we must first ask ourselves, is it factual or something more dubious? How far away is it from the site it represents? Is it serving to educate its visitors or just titillate? Is it some distant historic event or a more recent tragedy? One might be able to say with confidence a memorial to Holocaust survivors, though covering the same dark topic, is a shade or two lighter than actually visiting the site of the Auschwitz-Birkenau death camp. Likewise, to visit von Hagen's body worlds, though you are face to face with cadavers, the commercial incentive and hype surrounding the exhibition lightens what would be a dark experience. But the point of the scale is not to steer travellers towards what better suits their sensibilities or to test tolerance. Instead, it's a way for dark sites to weigh up and keep a bearing on their moral compass. At the Ground Zero Memorial, for example, it's a chance for curators to think of the impact of the event that is theirs to keep fresh. What can they do as the event slips further back into living memory?